Every agency leader or marketer that I've spoken with recently brings up some version of the same question about AI and design. Vibe coding, should we be experimenting with that? And what about specific AI design tools? Ultimately, I think these are two different questions asking after the same general assurance, which is, can we point AI at this and get something we can actually use? But if we treat them as actually different questions, then they have different answers. And that's really important to getting past experimentation and into true productivity. Hi, I'm Chris Butler. I'm Chief Design Officer here at Newfangled. We've been building AI systems for our clients that do all kinds of things. And as it turns out, building tools that generate on brand assets is just as tricky as building tools that parse data and elevate answers. Ultimately, our goal has been to help our clients use AI to remove unnecessary obstacles to creativity. And for some, that does mean vibe coding. So let's start with that. First of all, vibes are made. They don't make. And that's why I really don't love this term, because vibe coding undersells both the people who are doing it and what's actually possible with it. I mean, there's real intent and real integrity in a lot of vibe coded work. And yet, calling it that forces it into this rock and hard place of meaning, right? If you're a vibe coder, calling someone else's work vibe coding is a pejorative. If you're a marketer, then vibe coding can accelerate output too much, leaving some necessary standards behind. So let's set the naming aside. The more useful question is, why does vibe coding work as well as it does? Because that explains why the same approach applied to design produces something less reliable. So here's my answer. Code is standardized externally, and design is standardized internally. Right? Code arrives in layers, and every one of those layers has a specification that exists outside of your company and predates your project. A code language has grammar. A browser implements a rendering standard. A runtime documents its behavior. Right? Those standards were argued over in public by thousands of people, not us, and then they were written down. And when a model writes code, it draws on that body of convention, and that body is enormous and public and largely settled. That's why you can rely on it from the first turn of the first conversation. It isn't that the model is smart about your project. It's that your project is mostly built out of things that were standardized before you ever got there. Design, though, is a little bit different. Design is standardized in layers as well. Some of them are external or objective, like the formal elements of design you might learn in design school, but the standards you care about are mostly internal. They're the brand, your type scale, your spacing rhythm, the specific relationship between your logo and every curve radius in your system, your icons, the reason a white arrow can overpower a colored one on your page. None of that was argued over in public. It lives in your documentation, in accumulated decisions, and most of it in the judgment of the people who made those decisions. A model shows up knowing the conventions of design in general and nothing whatsoever about yours. That asymmetry is a structural issue. It's not a capability problem. And that means, and this is the part I'd really want you to sit with, waiting for a better model is not going to fix it. There's no public corpus of your brand for it to get better at. Generic competence is what a shared standard buys you, right? Which is sometimes quite good. But your design standards are not shared. And so that creates work to do. We have to find ways of making our internal standards external, accessible, clear, structured enough that a machine can reliably apply them. And that's not vibe coding. And it's actually a very different exercise from documenting a design system for people, because people fill gaps with judgment. A model fills them with whatever it has. Right? A style guide that you write as reference assumes a reader who already understands design. Right? If you're a designer out there, you've inherited dozens of other people's style guides or brand documentation. And a style guide written as training material cannot assume anything. Right? That's a huge difference between writing for a person and writing for a machine. At some point, I'll make a much longer video showing the kind of structured style guide that we're using to train custom AI systems for our clients. But for the purposes of this video, I'll say that what we're learning is the unique balance of foundational guidance and specific pattern examples that enable an AI system to serve those who need to vibe code and produce well-designed on-brand materials. You're going to see things in there like generalities of spacing, but very specific things about how a specific button adapts to a unique navigation system. Sometimes you need both kinds of patterns. But here's what I keep coming back to. All of this pressure that we're feeling right now lands us in the same place, which is how well have we said what we mean? A model applying our standard is only ever as good as the standard that we hand to it. And most organizations have never had to write theirs down with a machine as their intended audience. They've gotten by on the fact that the people applying it already knew. So perhaps something for yet another video. Articulation for AI means skill engineering, and skill engineering is a lot like writing for online publication. AIs are just as prone to skimming and skipping as humans are. So a good skill system is a careful balance of generalities and specifics. Ruthless editing is required. And that's the work now. It's not really about prompting per se, and it's not really just about tooling. It's precisely articulating what your design standard is in a skill system that E.B. White would approve of. And if that name is new to you, just Google it. Because the machine will apply what you wrote, not what you meant. And it will plug any holes with other people's judgment, not yours. So I know that this is sort of the tip of the iceberg of many subjects. I hope this opens your mind a little bit to exploring with AI, to not hastily adopting design-specific AI tools, and maintaining the control over the design system that you built from the ground up, even through this AI transition. I'd love to hear what you think. You can always comment on this video, either in LinkedIn if you're watching it there, or right here on this page. You can also reach me at chris@newfangled.com. I'd love to hear what you think. Thanks for watching.